Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Hello, this is Doug Wilson back at you with old school boxing talk. And as I told you a couple videos ago, I was going to do a video on what I would do if I were the man in charge of boxing on a global level. The changes I would make to professional boxing and the changes I think need to be made, because for boxing to survive, what we've learned is you need to go back. Sometimes you need to go back to what worked in the past and bring it update to make your sport survive. So, with that said, these are the things I would do if I were in charge of professional boxing. Number one, all championship fights are 15 rounds. That's it, non-disclosure, not even close. And if there is a draw, we will go to a 16th round to decide it. I don't want draws. I'm tired of draws in boxing. 15 rounds. A draw, if it's even, we go to a 16th round. We give a break and we go to a 16th round to decide it. Or matter of fact, no. You know what? We have the 3 judges scoring, and you know what we do? If it's a draw at the end of 15 rounds, since we have 3 judges at ringside, we then have the referee's house, so have a scorecard, so the referee's scorecard would then be the one deciding factor. Scratch the draw. I just thought about that shit. Scratch the 16th. I just thought that shit's too much. And I just remembered, hold on, we have a referee in there who doesn't score. So the referee would also have a scorecard. So if it's a draw, we'd have the referee's scorecard. So most likely, unless the referee had a draw, we're not going to have a draw. You know, I'm tired of draws. I hate draws. Okay. Number 2. One governing body. One. The other ones would be gone. And oddly enough, as much as I hate them all, the one that makes the most sense to me that I would keep is the WBC. Because they are the ones that are out front with the drug testing, you know, to keep boxing clean. They are the ones that have the weigh-ins that you weigh in when a contract is signed. They keep track of your weight as you go along up until fight time to make sure you lose weight at a healthy process. That they are the ones that a lot of the health issues in boxing, a lot of the safety procedures in boxing, WBC, as wretched as they are on top of it and are in front of it. So, you know, when we bitch about the sanction fees, at least with me doing it, the WBC we'd actually explain why those sanctioning fees are needed, what they're going for. And like I said, if anybody's going to help me grow the business, grow the sport, and grow the safety of professional boxing, it would be the WBC. So I would keep the WBC, get rid of the other 3, which they're worthless anyway. None of them have mandatory drug testing. They're all full of crap. I get rid of the other 3, keep the BC, and we keep rolling on. The number 3 thing I would do is get rid of all the junior divisions, make new divisions, go back to the original 8 divisions. Now, are the weight classes going to be the same? Absolutely not. Right here I have a list of all the original 8 weight classes and how I would redesign them, how I reseed them. Number 1, the flyweight division would go from start at 105 pounds, would go to 112 pounds. That would be the flyweight division. Next up, the bantamweight division, which would start at 113 pounds and go to 122 pounds. Next up would be the featherweight division, which would start at 123 and go to 130. Like I said, as you see, they're encompassing those junior divisions. The next would be the lightweight division, which would start at 131 and go to 144. We just got rid of the junior welterweight division. because we're moving the lightweight division limit up. We're moving lightweight up from where it was in the old days. As we've got to realize, when the old days when these divisions were put together, people were smaller then. They were smaller people. We have a bigger society of people. So we have to, instead of having all these crappy junior divisions, no, we have to make room to expand upon the divisions we have. So that would be one of my things about my 8 weight classes, would be room for expansion. This is where I will start the expansion, with room for more expansion, and you'll see that as I go forward. The next one will be the welterweight division, which will start at 145 and go to 154. And that, again, we encompass get rid of the junior middleweight division. We've gotten rid of, and the welterweight division goes right through to start to, because look, let's be honest, most welterweights, no welterweight weighs in at 141 pounds. They just don't. So that's why I took lightweight up to 144, because that way at 144, from 145 pounds to 154 pounds, you're a welterweight. Congratulations. And I think that works that way, and you will have some very good fights. And you'll have guys staying in weight classes longer because they have less weight to lose. If you got a guy like Keith Thurman who probably walks around at 162, 163, having to go down to at least 154 is not going to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having to go down to 147, it's less of a kill zone. Because you got to realize these are big welterweights. And look at Kell Brook, who says, I'm going up to 154. Why? If this division was there where I had it, Kell Brooks doesn't have to go anyplace. The next division is middleweight, which we will start at 155 pounds and move to 170 pounds. Again, we got rid of that super middleweight division. Just got rid of it because we don't need it, because we've grown up our middleweight division. Let our middleweight division grow. And we still have room, and this is where we have room to really do things, and we have some toggle weight here. The next one is light heavyweight, which we will start at 171 pounds and go to 220 pounds. Again, we have toggle weight here. We have weight limit, because from the light heavyweight division up, we can move the light heavyweight weight class up, because we know heavyweights are bigger. But at 220 pounds, from 171 to 220, that's a good weight for a light heavyweight. Again, we have room to really play with that weight in there and get rid of the wretched cruiserweight division, which nobody pays attention to. That's why I'm hoping Sergey Kovalev goes there, because Kovalev could be the greatest cruiserweight champion since Evander Holyfield. But that's just my opinion. And of course, next will be the heavyweight division, which will start at 221 pounds up. Again, that can be toggled, because as we toggle the light heavyweight division, we have room for each division to grow and move, weight to move up, so nobody really gets messed up. We have room to grow in those divisions. Now, these are 8 weight classes. We have 8 weight classes, and at today's rate, they would be good. The only one maybe that you might have to do is from light heavyweight, and heavyweight, because those guys are a lot bigger, so you might have to push that up a little bit. The point of the matter is, we get rid of those wretched junior and super divisions, and we have our 8 weight classes, just like MMA has theirs. Another thing I was thinking about, what I like that MMA does, and it's a thought I might have, I don't know if I'd institute it right away, is put a weight limit on the heavyweight division. That might not be bad too, to put a weight limit on the heavyweight division. That's just I'll think about that. Maybe I'll bring it up in another video. But those are the top 3 things I would do if I ran boxing. Get rid of those junior divisions, realign it, reweight the divisions, get rid of everybody but the BC, because I believe with the BC I can really do something as far as the safety of boxing, and 15-round championship fights. Boxing the way it should be, the way it was when I grew up, the way I loved it. I never liked this 12-round crap, and a lot of you are going to be upset. But the point is, I grew up with 15-round championship fights. I like it. I loved it. The fights were better. Champions were champions. And I think when fighters got to be champion, they were more prepared to be champions than these kids are today. Because these kids, they are fighting 12 rounders. Okay, they get to a 12-round fight, and they've been fighting these 12 rounds, but they're not really ready, because, you get these kids like, you got a kid like Tank Davis. He's not ready to be a champion. He's just not. You got a lot of these young kids that really aren't ready to be world champions. They're not. Back in the 80s, late 70s, Tank Davis would be a good NABF, USBA champion fighting 12-rounders, developing himself to get to the next level to fight for a world title. He would not be considered a world champion back then like he is today, because honestly, he's not ready for it. And a lot of you might not want to say that, but a lot of people do say. You listen to Montaro on boxing. He'll tell you, even though he's a champion, he says he's a prospect, and that's what he is. He's a prospect. He's not championship worthy because he get these wretched damn belts. They give these kids, they rush these kids 18, 19 fights into that level, and they're not ready. And then when they flame out, when they flame out and lose, they're like their whole world's destroyed. It's because you pushed them too soon. They're not ready for that. They're not mentally ready for that. And that's the thing we have to understand. You know, a lot of problems we have with boxing, as far as even with fighters learning the basics of boxing, is we have a guy in a prime example that was Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones could do all the flashy good stuff, but Roy Jones couldn't execute the basics. That's why when Roy Jones' skills and everything started to diminish, you seen Roy start getting knocked out because Roy didn't have the basics to fall back on. You see a guy like Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins, were able to go back and still can maintain fight at a high level because the basics were instilled in them. The basics of boxing: jab, hook off the jab, ring spacing, knowing where you are in the ring, knowing how to set people up. The basic where guys like Roy Jones had all this great athletic ability and minimal boxing skills, so they could just use all that. Basics. You know, that was the difference in my opinion. That was the difference between Kovalev and Ward, was ring IQ, which again goes back to what, you know, with the basics and what guy like Mayweather, guy like Hopkins, a guy like Roy Jones. Ring IQ is a very, 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 you can't teach it. It's something that you either have or you don't have. You know, that you could pick up things in boxing. You go watch the old fights, you learn things quickly. You have people around you teaching that to you. You know, which is why, like, you look at a guy like Andre Ward, him and Virgil Hunter's an old school guy, so they pick up, they learn. Andre Ward has a very, very high ring IQ. Excuse me, which is why he was able to make adjustments. Fighters with a high ring IQ can make adjustments in a fight. When you have a plan and that plan isn't working well, you can make an adjustment on the fly and you can change it up. Those fighters can do that. Not everybody can do that. The thing with Ward Kovalev was, I had Kovalev winning the first 4 rounds of that fight, but I also saw what Ward was doing and how each round that Kovalev was winning, Kovalev was paying a price to win those rounds. Yes, I gave him the first 4 rounds, but I also seen Andre Ward make adjustments and make Sergey Kovalev work harder to win those rounds. Round 1 was pretty much nothing to it, but Andre Ward picking up, going back to the body, and Kovalev using his jab. You know, the problem with Sergey Kovalev, again, and I've said it before, is he doesn't have a left hook. And he doesn't really work the body. And guys like Kovalev, who are big, wiry, power puncher guys, like Tommy Hearns was another one that he had. Those guys have that power on the end that they can punch to a brick wall. But if you can get on the inside and work the body, they're not used to it. They're not used to it. And 2, they don't know how to defend it. They're like, what the hell do I do here? You know, and that's what beat Kovalev, was the same thing that beat Tommy Hearns. Look at Leonard Hearns won. When the fight was on the outside, Tommy Hearns controlled that fight. The minute Leonard got on the inside, Houston, we got a problem, because Tommy wasn't used to dealing with that. And Ray got inside, rubbed him, and went to the body, drained him. Andre Ward Kovalev, Ward got to the inside, got to the body, drained him. Yes, he with the modern science of, you know, with all the you know, they had this dietitians and all this other stuff that Sergey Kovalev had getting ready for this fight. The thing is, he doesn't have a left hook. And when Ward forced him in a position to throw the left hook, which was the punch that was open for Kovalev, all night long, the left hook was there, but Sergey Kovalev doesn't have it. He has a jab and he has a right hand and a bit of an uppercut. And and that's what served him well. But at the same time, either Kovalev's fault that he hasn't progressed, or it's John David Jackson's fault that he hasn't sat his fighter down and said, look, we got to add this to the repertoire. I blame more the trainer, because I think as a trainer, you know what your fighter does well, you know what your fighter doesn't do well. You perfect this. You perfected the 1-2. We know Kovalev throws a 1-2 like no other. So now we have to learn to tell him to come back and hook off that jab. When you miss the right hand, you'll just go lay in, or you just try another jab. You come back 1, 2, 3. And I blame John David Jackson, because that's your job as a trainer to understand, yes, my kid has a good 1-2. Now I got to improve that uppercut. Yes, my kid has a good outside fights, good on the outside. Now I got to have him work on the inside. I blame the trainer, not the fighter. Because if the fighter won't listen to you as a trainer, if the fighter won't listen to you as a trainer, you need to walk the fuck away. But if you're going to stay, you owe it to your fighter to teach him these things. And between the first fight and the second fight, I didn't see any improvements in Sergey Kovalev. None whatsoever. All the things that I thought he should have worked on, and I mentioned it. I had a chat with, like I said, with Montaro on boxing. You know, Mike has these things we talk where he lets you bring suggestion. I said, Ward, what Kovalev needs to do is when Ward comes in, a nice uppercut to the sternum, which will take the wind out of Ward and make Ward realize you got to pay a price to run up in here. There was none of that. A nice left hook, top and bottom, to again make Ward realize you got to pay a price. You want to rush up in here, you're going to pay a price. You just can't come kicking through my front door. There was none of that. Who do you blame for that? I blame the trainer, because it's your job. And if the fighter's not going to listen to you, then you need to walk away. If you're just in there on a money grab, then shame on you, John David Jackson. Shame on you. I blame you because you're a fighter. At the end of the day, Sergey Kovalev is your fighter, not some Russian guy, your fighter. And if Sergey Kovalev was not going to listen to you, you should have walked away. Point blank, period. If I'm training a fighter and I know what he does well and I can say, okay, we need to work on this, and my fighter's not doing it, I walk away. Because there's no sense in me being here. If you're not going to learn, I'm not here for a payday. I'm not here to waste my time. I'm here to help you do good. What you do good, I'm here to help you improve on it. What you don't do well, I'm here to help you learn it. And if you're not going to, and as a trainer, if you're not going, if your fighter's not listening to you, you need to walk away. And the things that I saw that I would have had Sergey Kovalev work on, not saying he would have won the fight, but I think it would have been a more competitive fight. Work on that left hook. Develop that left hook. Work on the uppercuts. Work on punching to the body, because you need to make sure you know what Andre Ward's going to do. You understand what Andre Ward, for the most part, is going to do. He's going to get inside. He's going to make it a rough fight. He wants to make it a rough fight. He wants to make it a tough fight. You should have had your guy prepared for this. I seen nothing. All I seen from Kovalev was pretty much Kovalev doing the same thing he did the first fight, which was try to use the right hand, which Andre Ward had nullified. After the right hander dropped him in the first round, Ward pretty much nullified the right hand. I didn't see any changes. Well, okay, you can't throw the right. All I can throw is a jab. Where's the damn hook? Where's the hook off the jab? The one punch that worked for Kovalev was the jab. So when you're telling me that after I get past the jab, I have nothing else to worry about. And that was it. There was no shots to the, Kovalev throwing an uppercut to the body or even a body shot at all. There were no left hooks following that, top or bottom. There was none of that. It was just Kovalev throwing that jab, trying to keep him off the jab, trying to fire right hands, hoping the right hand lands, and Andre Ward was slipping that right hand. And there was no jab, jab. There was no jab, jab. There was a jab, jab right hand, but after the right hand missed, there was no left hook come behind that. The jab wasn't even improved, because I didn't see Kovalev even improving his jab. He threw the same jab. He needs to learn to off-speed his jab. You throw one jab at one pace, one jab. Oh, with a jab like Kovalev, that guy should be throwing master jabs. He should have a hard jab, a medium jab, like a pitcher. He should be like a pitcher in baseball. You have a fastball, you have a slider. That jab should have different things on it to really make you think, to blind, because a jab sets up your offense, up your defense. A guy like Kovalev with his IQ with the jab could have found a way to really blind Ward to walk him into the right hand. If you had the hook, John David Jackson, if you'd have trained your fighter to have a left hook, that hook, and I'm sure Kovalev would throw a hell of a hook, would have walked Ward into a right hand, because once you establish that left hook, now you can't go here. So Ward, he could have threw that hook, even if he feinted the hook, because Kovalev has good feints. Even if once he landed the hook a couple times and he feints the hook, maybe he gets Ward to walk into a right hand. Not saying he would have, but I think he would have been more competitive. I think the fight wouldn't have went the way it went. I blame the trainer on that account. You're the trainer. You're responsible for what your fighter does in that ring. And if your fighter can't do what you're not teaching him to do, and if your fighter's that stubborn that he won't listen to you, then it's time for him to get a new voice. It's time for you as a trainer to have some pride in yourself and walk the hell away. Point blank, I'm out of here. You're not going to listen to me. I don't have time to waste. I'm out of here. and do that, and just do that. I'm sorry, but these guys in here saying, well, he's got this big payday. I want to get this payday, wins or lose, so I'm getting paid. Honestly, John David Jackson, instead of Kathy Duva sitting there crying and Kovalev sitting there crying, they should congratulate Ward, say, hey, you got the better of me, and they should be blasting you, John David Jackson, and maybe you shouldn't get paid because what did you do to earn your money? Every day when I go to work, I tell my boss, I say the same thing. I don't come here to collect a paycheck. I come here to earn my money because I'm the guy who's got to look myself in the face and say to me, did I earn my money? And John David Jackson, you cannot look yourself in the eye, honestly, as a fighter, as a trainer, as a man, and said, I earned my money. I sent Kovalev out there, the best version of Kovalev out there, because you didn't. You made no changes to this man between the first fight and the second fight. And if I can sit here and pick out little changes, not saying he would have won the fight, but little changes that would have made that fight a little bit different. The left hook, the body shots, teaching him how to off-speed those jabs, tying up on the inside, doing more tying up doing how to tie up better. These are things that you, John David Jackson, had 8 weeks to impart on your guy. 8 weeks to get in that camp and work on. And if the guy says, I'm not listening to you, whatever the rumors are that Kovalev wasn't listening to you, just the rest, then you know what, John David Jackson? You leave. You say, okay, you're not going to listen to me? I'm out. And you leave. And you go home and you go to a bar and you watch the goddamn fight. Like the rest of us did. And if Kovalev would have got his ass beat like he did here, then maybe Sergio calls you and says, you know what, John, maybe I'm a little wrong about things, maybe, but you don't be part of that, because if he's not going to listen to you, you get the hell out of there. Because that's why I personally am going to sit here and I'm going to blame you, because you did not improve your fighter. You sent your fighter in the same way he was the first fight. You took that paycheck. Now, and everybody's going to sit there and say, well, you can't blame John David Jackson because Sergio Kovalev will listen to John David. Did he take that paycheck? He sure as fuck did. So I can't blame John David Jackson because he took that fucking paycheck. So yeah, I blame him. Whether Kovalev is doing or not, if he's not listening to you, not going to listen to you, then you know what? I don't want the paycheck. I don't want myself attached to this. I'm leaving. But you stuck around to collect that paycheck. So I blame you. Because you're part of the problem. Not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I believe Sergio Kovalev is part of the problem. If he's got this attitude that he only wants to listen to certain people, then you should have fired John David Jackson and hired yourself a Russian trainer if that's how you felt. You hold some blame. Kovalev holds some blame for that. Because if that's how you felt, then you could have fired John David Jackson and brought this guy in. Apparently, there must be something there, reason that you didn't. But I digress. I hope that if Sergey Kovalev stays with John David Jackson, if he stays with that wretched-ass Kathy Duva, he won. Matter of fact, I don't even want him to keep John David Jackson. I want Sergey Kovalev to find a trainer that's going to teach him the things that he's weak on. Teach him how to throw left hook. Teach him how to work on the inside. Teach him how to off-speed his jab. Increase his in-ring IQ. And then move him up to cruiserweight, where I believe that if you add a few pieces of Sergey Kovalev, he's unfucking stoppable. But this version of Kovalev this version of Kovalev is good enough to beat everybody at cruiserweight. If you add some pieces to Kovalev and raise his ring IQ, that version of Kovalev is going to be a fucking problem for anybody at all that thinks about coming up. And that version of Kovalev goes on to get better, could grow into being a problem for any of those belt holders at heavyweight. Any of them. But it's going to take one, Kovalev wanting to learn, two, getting the right guys that's going to be around him to want to teach him. Because I can see Kathy Duva. I see how Kathy Duva had a great fighter in Tomas Adamek. Great guy. Adamek was awesome. He was a great light heavyweight champion who lost his belt. Only fight loss of his career up until he fought for the heavyweight title was to Klitschko. To Chad Dawson. Thomas Adamek was a dominant WBC light heavyweight champion. He lost the belt to Chad Dawson. He moved up to cruiserweight. Didn't lose another fight until he moved up to heavyweight and lost to Klitschko. And the reason he lost Klitschko, well, it's Klitschko. Klitschko's a fucking 6'8" monster, and this kid Tom Zak was, about same size as Kovalev, 6'1", 6'2", and about, a small heavyweight. But Klitschko also had the one thing that a lot of these other guys don't have. Klitschko had skills. And Thomas Adamek had a high ring IQ. Thomas Adamek could throw anything and everything. I'm sorry, it's Tomasz Adamek. It's Polish fighter. But the point is, if Klitschko, if Kovalev had a trainer to teach him the things that he needed to be taught, and if Kovalev is going to be willing to be taught, I think you have the makers of a superstar there that could really, really go far. I still believe Sergey Kovalev is the best of all the Eastern European fighters. He has the best resume of all these guys. And I believe that, honestly, Kovalev can be salvaged. I don't want to see Sergey Kovalev become one of these guys that all of a sudden loses confidence, becomes a fucking gatekeeper, or starts losing the guys that, he shouldn't be losing to. I would hope that he gets a good trainer, a new trainer, because I don't think John David Jackson, I don't think there's respect from Kovalev to John David Jackson. So if Kovalev says he doesn't want American trainers, then Kovalev needs to go to Russia, whatever, get himself a trainer from Russia, and I'm sure the guy that will take him back, look at what he does, says, okay, this is what you do well, we can improve on that, but we need to add some things to you. And Kovalev will sit there and listen and learn. And if Kovalev want to do that, he's 34 years old, he's a young man. He's got enough. Let's say he fights till his 40. So we get Kovalev a new trainer, get him, move him up to cruiserweight. He's got 6 years to dominate the cruiserweight division. He's got 6 years to dominate the cruiserweight division and maybe fight for one of the heavyweight belts. And if he's improved, I would not be shocked looking at the heavyweight division, with the exception of the two top guys, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. I could see Kovalev pulling up. I could see Kovalev winning. If you get him a fight with that kid from Australia, what's his name, Parker, I can see Kovalev beating this guy in a couple years. If they strip one of those belts from AJ, and as long as it doesn't wind up in the hands of Wilder or, Luis Ortiz, I can see Kovalev grabbing that. But I think right now, if Kovalev gets a new trainer that's going to teach him, he goes up to cruiserweight, has a few fights at cruiserweight to establish himself, also work on his new toys. I think see Kovalev grabbing all four of those belts at cruiserweight and dominating the cruiserweight division like it hasn't been dominated since Evander Holyfield. And that's saying something. I could see Kovalev being the kind of champion that would bring some prestige and make those cruiserweight titles mean something, and would bring some eyeballs onto the cruiserweight division, which is run mostly by Eastern Europeans anyways. German fighters, they're run by European fighters anyway, so I could see Kovalev easily being the guy that could win the cruiserweight division, get some shine on it here in the United States, and make a lot of money at the cruiserweight division also, and then set himself up to move to heavyweight. I could see him not losing. I could see him going through it. I could see that happening. What the hell? I heard at the end of the fight, Andre Ward told me he wants to go up to cruiserweight and possibly then heavyweight and whatever. But I still, even with the thought of Andre Ward going up there, I'm still bringing Kovalev up there. I don't care. I'm still bringing Kovalev up there. Maybe if Kovalev Ward 3 doesn't happen, which I don't think there's any need for it, I could still put two of those belts on Kovalev. He could still be a dominant cruiserweight champion. If Andre Ward is going to stop in the cruiserweight division for a cup of tea, fine. And cruiserweight, then as soon as those belts become available, Kovalev can claim those two belts and just continue to clean out the cruiserweight division. And then if Andre Ward's going to make his way to heavyweight, God bless him. I honestly would rather see Andre Ward stick around at 175 and clean that up. Andre Ward saying going up to cruiserweight, do whatever. You still have some work to do at light heavyweight. You just beat the best light heavyweight on the planet for the second time. Now it's time to grab that belt from Adonis Stevenson, and fight. Give Sullivan Barrera a rematch. Maybe fight the other kid there at light heavyweight. Maybe fight add John Pascal to your resume. Add him to your resume. There are fights out there. There's Bottle Jack coming up. Nathan Clever, you haven't fought. There are fights there for Andre Ward at light heavyweight. And I'd like to see him at least fight some of them or attempt to make the Adonis Stevenson fight before you start talking about jumping up to cruiserweight and then jumping up to heavyweight. Because now it tells me that you're just, okay, at this point of your career, you're on a money grab. And Andre Ward, you're 33 years old. I understand you're 33 years old. You've been doing this a long time. Okay, you just made $6.5 million before taxes for this fight here. Okay, so I guess after taxes, what are you gonna walk out with? Maybe $3 million after taxes. After taxes and after everybody's paid, you probably walk out with $2 million, free and clear. After your trainers are paid, promoter get out, you probably, you know. The point of the matter is, I understand you want to walk out of here, you want to make a big payday, but you know, I think that for me personally, one of the things that when people that I respected about Kovalev was cleaning up the division. Before he ran into Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev was cleaning up the division. And Sergey Kovalev was that kind of champion that said, hey, you want, here, have belt, will travel. And just like Keith Thurman would say when he said, I have an O and I'm not afraid to let it go, Kovalev was also that guy. He didn't say it like that, but he was also that guy that Kovalev wasn't afraid to fight anybody. He's still not. Now, he don't have the O, but he's still the damn, in my opinion, he's still the second best light heavyweight in the world. I just believe he needs to, I think he needs to take some time off, figure out what he wants to get over the Andre Ward thing. He's got to put that thing behind him. He's got to put that behind him and then keep, plow forward. I think a move to cruiserweight would be good because of a fresh start in the light heavyweight division. Let him get past the deal with Ward and let him rebuild himself back to where he was. I don't think it'll take long for him to do that. But, like I said, it's up to that wretched promoter of his and whoever the hell he chooses to train him. Now, the next coming up, we have a couple good fights coming up. We have Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner coming up. We have some other good fights coming up in June, and the rest in August. We have some, boxing is picking up. Then we have that, then we have the what the hell do we have? Triple G versus Triple G and Canelo fight. Yes, Triple G and Canelo. We have that fight coming up. We have some good fights coming up, and I don't know what we're going to get in November. I'm hoping that Ward and Kovalev, both of them will be back in the ring before the end of the year. I'm looking forward to that. That would be awesome to both of them to get back in the ring before the end of the year. So we could have, hopefully if we're lucky, we'll have one or both of them back in the ring by November, December to end the year out. I'm hoping that it'll be Kovalev maybe fighting for the cruiserweight title. With Ward, I'm hoping maybe it'll be Ward fighting somebody worthwhile. I don't know. I lean more toward having Kovalev back than I do Ward. But we have we have some good fights coming up. The next big, like I said, Mikey Garcia and Adrian Peterson Mike Garcia and Adrian Broner is a fight that Adrian Broner has to win. Honestly, Broner cannot afford to lose this fight. If he loses this fight, then Broner's just a name opponent, just a gatekeeper. I think Broner's going to lose to Mikey Garcia personally. And that's that. And then you got the Canelo Triple G fight. I'm going to be hesitant on that one, and this is my reason. I want to know if the WBC title is going to be on the line for that one. One, because in my opinion, everybody knows the guys in boxing are juicing. Everybody knows the guys in boxing are juicing. We know who they are. And here's what I'm going to say. If you're not a WBC champion or a WBC ranked contender, I am more likely to believe that you are juicing than I am anybody working with that is associated with the WBC. That's my opinion. All these guys that are not dealing with WBC or that don't want to do, because WBC has VADA testing, which is voluntary testing all year round, in and out of competition testing for the guys in the top 15. If you're not working with the WBC, if you're not in that program, then 9 out of 10 times, in my opinion, you're juicing. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you don't like it. That's just the way I feel about it. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but here's a litmus test that I'm going to give you this. If this farce in Australia between Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, if Manny Pacquiao suddenly finds this lost knockout power in Australia, I would want to know what kind of drug testing, if any, were done. Because a wretched WBO has no drug testing unless Manny Pacquiao walks to that damn ring with a third arm growing out of his shoulder, out of his side, or something weird. Manny Pacquiao could be in all kind of shit. And look, let's be honest about this. We all knew Manny Pacquiao was juicing from the beginning. And up until Floyd Mayweather Sr. called him out and said, hey, you know, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. said, yeah, take the test, we got to fight. We knew Manny was juicing. And everybody can try to cover it up. Everybody can try to say, no. But the truth is, folks, Manny was juicing. Because the minute the Nevada State Athletic Commission and these other commissions started cracking down on drug testing, Manny ain't scored a knockout since. Manny's been knocked out, but he hasn't knocked nobody out. He scored a couple knockdowns, but he hasn't knocked nobody out. And even the guys he's knocked down, he didn't have them badly hurt. Since drug testing got enforced and Manny Pacquiao had it really strongly drug testing, all that power show that Manny Pacquiao was showing early on, that shit disappeared quickly. Dried up. That well was dried. And why? Because now Manny Pacquiao was subject to drug testing. And that shit he was taking, that shit that Alex Ariza was giving him, that shit was going to be detected. So, yeah, we had a fight on even peel, and Manny started realizing that, you know, he was going on ability, but Manny had to work a little harder. You know, he had to work a little harder to get the job done. Now, not saying Manny Pacquiao's not a great fighter. But the point is, let's be honest, we all know Manny Pacquiao was juicing. It's just that nobody wants to be open and honest enough to say Manny Pacquiao was juicing. And then we got Canelo Alvarez. And I'm going to say, I think Canelo's juicing. You know, Canelo didn't want to fight that WBC title attached. Canelo hasn't fought for a WBC title since he gave after the Cotto fight. So I'm going to say from the time after the Cotto fight I don't think Canelo's been clean since the Cotto fight. That's just my opinion. I'm not in his camp. I'm not one in the camps, but I'm not in the labs, the circumstances behind it are looking pretty clear. I mean, why, if the WBC is going to give you let me see, what memorial title for the Chavez fight, and you didn't take it, you wanted what WBC have anything to do with it. You know why you want WBC to have anything to do with it? Because that would have meant that even with that bet on line, WBC was going to want some VADA testing. Would have improved, and they would have insisted on some more VADA testing, some shit that maybe you and Chavez Jr. both would have got caught with some bullshit. That maybe the Nevada State Athletic Commission, who was one of the best, but now I believe the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the most corrupt commission in boxing. I think that VADA should be mandatory for everyone in combat sports across the board, whether you're in MMA or boxing, kickboxing, whatever. VADA testing should be mandatory for all. And this is why, when you're in combat sports, you're in there fighting another man, you're juiced up, you can kill a man. You are in a ring fighting another man, and the chances of you, and when you're juiced up, you can kill somebody, you can take somebody's fucking life. So yes, every kind of testing we need to have should be done. And I'm ashamed of the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF that they don't have VADA testing. And especially the wretched WBO is really on my shit list, because these idiots have now let that cheating bastard Alex Povetkin fight and get ranked for the WBO title. Congratulations, WBO. We knew you were full of shit with your welterweight rankings, but now you just proven us that you're going to let a cheater like Povetkin go over here and you know, without saying, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to heavily test your ass. No, Povetkin, no people. That's why Povetkin. Look, you should have knew there was someone on Povetkin when he didn't want. When Teddy Atlas left his ass. When Teddy Atlas left Povetkin's ass, you knew there was something wrong with Povetkin. Everybody should. The alarm should have went the hell off then, but it didn't. It didn't go off then, and people let this cheating little bastard keep going on his way. Why he had to stay? Oh, he was supposed to come to Florida to train with Teddy, but he had to stay in Russia. Why? Because his ass up in that damn juice factory. Staying up in that juice factory. Take this pill. Take that pill. Drink this. And that damn juice factory over there in Russia, where they have no drug testing, which is another reason why, you know, a lot of fighters, they're not willing to go to Russia to fight these guys. You know, and I feel bad for them, but I don't blame the fighters. I blame the Russian. I blame the Russian commissions for not being upstanding, for not being able. But the point is, the Russians have been cheating in forever. We knew about the Russians when they were cheating in the damn Olympics. They have these chicks with more hair on their chest than Tom Selleck. We knew the Russians have been cheating forever. And the Russians have never stopped cheating. They always cheat. They won't fight clean. The only time those guys fight clean is when they come over here to the U.S. and we kind of make them fight somewhat clean. We understand that. And it's the Russia's fault. It's their fault. And I feel bad for their fighters. But come on, guys. You know your commissioner's dirty. You know what's going on there. So you need to make a stand of yourself and say, you know, man, I can't. Until you clean this shit up, I'm just going to fight over here. You don't got to come to the U.S., but you can fight in Britain. You can fight in France. You can fight in other countries in Europe that have drug testing. Unless you yourself are afraid of drug testing. Unless you yourself are still on that old famous Russian juice factory. The thing I like about Lomachenko and I like about Kovalev and Golovkin is that they are over here. They are getting tested, especially Golovkin. I mean, shit. Golovkin's got that WBC belt, and we know Mario Sulaiman's testing the fuck out of him. So we know Golovkin's clean. I assume that Kovalev and Lomachenko are clean. Like I said, I assume, because if they were both with either WBC champions or WBC top 5 ranked, then I will say for sure, yeah, these guys are clean, because I know that Mauricio Sulaiman is testing the fuck out of them. Everybody that's in the WBC top 15 gets tested. So I trust those guys, because I trust Mauricio Sulaiman more so than I trust his daddy. But I like where he's going with this. So I do like that mandatory drug test, that VADA test that WBC's instituted. Should I be shocked that the WBA and the WBO and the IBF haven't done it? I should be, but I'm not. I'm sorry, just boxing. I'm just, I should be shocked, but I'm not. Because it seems like all these guys, instead of doing one thing to unify, instead of doing something to better the sport, they all just want to look out for themselves. So WBC is saying, if you're a cheater, you can't come here. But the WBA and WBA is saying, well, if you're caught cheating, we're going to strip you. The IBF is saying, the IBF and WBO say, well, come on over here. We'll work around. Just make sure you make that weight limit on fight day. And the WBO's like, unless you grow a third arm, we're good. In my opinion. Again, my opinion. So, that was my take. It was a video. Wow, this is quicker than I thought. It was a quick turnaround. I just dropped the Andre Ward Kovalev review last night, so I'm doing another one the next night on Father's Day. So I'm going to take I'm not going to do one every week because I got Montaro and I got to find out some things I want to ask Mike and some other folks, that I'm probably going to post in my next video. I got to, when I put something that I don't say is my opinion, I want to make sure I have facts behind it. So I got to find some stuff out, ask some people some questions, get some facts behind it. And I will bring it to you next time. So till then, it's Doe Wilson saying, check out the review. And check out how I would run boxing. And of course, as always, leave your comments. And oh yeah, just to FYI, I guess I'm doing well enough that I got the little racist trolls. Yes, I got racist trolls now. Oh my God, I must have made it to the point where I get all these race-baiting idiots that now want to troll my channel. Wow, I should be proud of myself. I don't get anybody. See, this is what pisses me off. I don't get anybody that wants to intelligently talk about boxing asking me questions, but I get these little race trolls. And honestly, I don't have time for you race trolls. If I don't, look, everything I say in boxing, I don't expect everybody to agree with. I don't. But don't come to my channel talking about, oh, you black guys this, no, you black guys that. Don't come to my channel with that bullshit. If you having a disagreement with something I say or one of my opinions, then come here and say, hey, I don't agree about you with this. And I'll respond, and we can debate boxing all day long. But if you're going to come to me talking about race, well, I'll read your comment, I'll respond to your comment, then I'll delete your comment. Because I have no respect for you. If you come to my channel and you have a valid thing, I will mention you and say, hey, this guy brought something up, and you know what I mean. If I say something that's not factually accurate, and I don't say in my opinion, and I presented as fact, and you find that I was wrong, please, I'll take that and say, yo, man, thank you. And I will mention you in my thing. Say, yo, man, I was wrong about blah, blah, blah. And this gentleman here brought it up to me and corrected me, and I thank you for that. Because like I said, I'm a boxing historian. I've been following the sport all my life. But do I know every little nuance about boxing? I know no, because a lot of stuff I don't follow. A lot of things I might be out of loop on. So if I do put something out there and it's inaccurate and you find it, hey, man, just gladly just say, hey, you were wrong on this here, man. And I'll be like, yo, man, I'll give you the shout out, because be like, yo, man, I was right on that one. And thank you. But if you're one of those race trolls that want to bring up race and all this other bullshit, please don't send me comments. Don't even bother, because I'll read it, I'll respond, and I'm going to delete you. And then it's going to get to the point where I'm just going to delete you guys, because you guys are wasting time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. And if you have nothing better to do with your time, then I feel bad for you. Really need to get a fucking life. Seriously, dude, I do this because I want to do this. I don't do this because I have to. Like I said, to me, I love boxing. To me, this is like having a, to me, this channel is like having a video diary where I just get to share my thoughts with millions of people around the world on boxing, on the one thing I'm passionate about, boxing. That's all this is to me. I'm not looking to make money. I'm not looking to be the greatest of all, greatest guy ever. This is like I said, my video diary of my feelings about boxing, how I feel about boxing, why it's called Old School Boxing Talk, because I'm old school. I like boxing the way it used to be. I don't like a lot of shit they do today. I don't like a lot of fuckery they do today. I don't think today's fighters are as good as the fighters I grew up with. I just don't. And a lot of people will say, well, you're being biased, whatever. Look, that's just my opinion. That I don't think today's fighters are as good. I don't think you could take any of today's fighters. I don't think there's many of today's fighters I could take them today and put them back in the 70s, 80s, in a weight class with any of the great champions, and they would be successful against any of the great champions. I just don't. If you, like I said, once again, bring up a fighter, any fighter from today's era, and say, hey, how would this guy do in this weight class? And I'll give you my opinion. And whether we agree, we can agree to disagree. But I don't see too many fighters today, with the exception of maybe Andre Ward, but it depends on what weight class you put him at. I don't see many guys that I believe would be successful in boxing in the late 70s, early 80s, in my era of boxing. I don't see many. There are guys I believe would be. Like, I believe Kovalev would do well in the 70s and 80s. I think he'd be good enough to be one of the top contenders. I don't think he beats any of the champions. I don't think he beats Michael Spinks. I don't think he beats Saad Muhammad. I don't think he beats, Dwight Muhammad Quaid. I don't think he beats Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. I don't think Sergey Kovalev beats any of the champions. But I believe he'd be that one fucking guy that would give the champions a hell of a fight, that when they saw his name coming in rotation, they'd be like, oh, fuck. This motherfucker again. I think he's better than John Conahy and a lot of other guys that were there. Leslie Stewart, I think he's better than them. And I do believe, depending on what timing you had, if you took Kovalev and put him in there in the light heavyweight division when Virgil Hill ran it, I think he'd be then I give Kovalev a hell of a chance of being a champion. Pretty much done when you had Virgil Hill, Bobby Ches, But the heyday when Saad Muhammad, after Michael Spinks and those guys left the light heavyweight division, I think I could see Kovalev being one of those guys that could have took it over. Same thing with Andre Ward, but if you put him in there when those guys were there, I say no, not a snowball chance in hell. Same thing with the middleweight division. You take these guys. Do I think Golovkin could have survived against Hagler? Absolutely not. Do I think no. If you took these guys welterweight, Thurman, Spence, and these guys and said, hey, put them in there with Leonard and Hearns and Benito, do I think they survive? No. My opinion. A lot of you will disagree with it, but I'm just saying, I look at those guys, Leonard and Hearns and Duran and Benitez, and you take these guys today, I just don't see them stacking up. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't. I just don't. It's just, I look at these guys, I'm like, no, they're not going to make it. Because none of them was going to beat Benitez, none of them were going to beat Hearns, none of them were going to beat Leonard, none of them were going to beat Duran. I'm sorry. There's no way I like Earl Spence Jr. Love him. But there's no way in hell you're going to tell me he beats Benitez, he beats Duran, he beats Tommy Hearns, he beats Sugar Ray Leonard. Not a snowball's chance in hell he beats those guys. The same thing with Thurman. He probably had the, in my opinion, Spencer had the best chance of pulled off of one of those guys. But the rest of these guys, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, these guys are fighting Tim Bradley. There's no way in the fucking hell they beat any of those guys, man. It's just not happening. So like I said, once again, same thing with if you took Terrence Crawford and put him at 140 when Aaron Pryor was there. Terrence Crawford is fucked. Now maybe he goes fight Sal Manby and gets a WBC title. Because Manby and Don King had because Don King and Bob Arum worked together on occasions. But that's even if Don King would even make that fight. Don King might not even give Terrence Crawford a shot at that. Don King may make him go fight Aaron Pryor. So I ain't fucking with that. And if he fought Aaron Pryor, I'm sorry, Crawford's not winning that fight. Aaron Pryor stops him. So that's just my opinion. That's, the era of boxing I come from. There are people that, I've got uncles and that follow boxing, back when the days of Sugar Ray Robinson, and, and they would say, well, they would tell me that the guys from the 80s couldn't stack up. You couldn't put Robinson, you couldn't put Tommy Hearns and Leonard and them in the same division with Robinson and them and say, there's no way in hell they kill him. And, okay. I would, because Sugar Ray Robinson considered the pound for pound the greatest fighter ever lived. So, I would give that respect, but as I got to know the sport and study the sport, I realized, these guys were onto something. So that's just my take. We've gone longer than I wanted to on this one. So till next time, if you're intelligent, you're not going to do race baiting bullshit, please leave comments, questions, whatever, and we'll get back. Till next time, this is Doe Wilson signing out for Old School Boxing Talk. Hope you like the new video and the new entrance, which will become my permanent new entrance. See you later.